What's going on, guys? CTG back. I have a couple of guys that I think could get traded at mid-season. I want to talk about it. I made a list. I made a Google Doc of a bunch of players that I think could or will get moved. They're more realistic, nothing crazy, but these guys I think should or will get moved at mid-season. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoy the video. Let's go. To start off, we got an easy one. It's James Harden. He's single-handedly trying to keep this Clippers team afloat, but as we know, it's probably over. Do I think that James Harden's going to get traded? Not necessarily, because the Clippers don't own their own first-round pick, so it will be pointless for them to tank effectively. So I don't know if James Harden's going to get traded, but I think if he would, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves should be in on that. Maybe, I wouldn't say Houston, but there's a couple of teams that should be interested in James Harden if he were to get moved. He has 1 year left on his deal, plus a player option for next season. Harden's averaging 27. He's been more efficient than last season. He's still putting up 8 assists per game. He can carry your offense for stretches, and on top of that, he is a good passer. I think James Harden has become underrated at this age currently, just because he's done it for so long, and he's back to being more efficient with it. They're just not winning games. The Clippers have been pitiful. There's no reason to keep trotting him out there every day at 36 years old when the outcome is basically known before the game even starts. Before tip-off, we know this Clippers team is probably going to lose. At 27 points and 8 assists per game, his value should be there. Again, I just don't know if the Clippers are going to tank because they don't have their own first-round pick. I think it's realistic, though, for him to get moved. We can go on and we could talk about his teammate Ivica Zubac, who is also potentially on the trade block, but we're not quite sure yet. Zu's averaging like 16 and 11. 16 points, 11 rebounds, and I believe over a block per game as well. Zubac does his thing consistently. He finishes around the rim relatively well. He's become really good at hitting that push shot floater in the lane. He plays good interior defense. He's a good rim protector. And on top of that, he provides good screening. He's a really good screening big man. He's not really a lob threat like a lot of bigs, but he has good hands, reliable hands, I would say. I really like Ivica Zubac, and I really like James Harden. For Zubac's contract situation, you are looking at... Zubac is signed into the 2028 season, so you have control over him for a few years, whatever bidder or team were to come out of the dust with him. Zubac is a very productive big man as a starter. Some teams need some depth and backup bigs. Maybe they hit him up. Like Lakers need a backup big, but I don't think that's realistic. Celtics need a backup big. Toronto needs a backup big. A lot of teams need a backup big. Zubac can fill that void very easily and some. He's impressive. I know James Harden's made him look better than he is, in my opinion, because James Harden is a very good passer and runs a lot of pick and roll, but Zubac is still very productive, and on top of that, he's a really good defender. I think both of them could be on the move because this Clippers team has just been pitiful. We're staying with the Western Conference team that has been playing exceptionally poor basketball. It is DeMar DeRozan and the Sacramento Kings. They went on a good run against the Pacers last night, but unfortunately blew that game late. But DeMar DeRozan is the same player he has always been. He is a mid-range assassin who loves to get to the free throw line, take a ton of tough shots, but can close games when he gets hot. He can close games. DeMar, with his contract, he has 2 years left. Both of them are solid, so no player or team options, but neither one is above $26 million. So I'd say there's good value there as a third piece or maybe even a fourth scorer. DeMar is very valuable just for scoring the ball. I'm not sure who top bidders would be for DeMar DeRozan. Somebody mentioned the Clippers could be in on DeMar DeRozan as to kind of get them more on-ball scoring because they don't have many ball handlers outside of James Harden and Kawhi, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what the market would be for DeMar DeRozan, but he's the same player he's always been. Low turnovers, decent efficiency, doesn't take a ton of threes. He'll never take a ton of threes. And he sits in the mid-range, he pump fakes, tries to get a rip-through foul, tries to get somebody to jump. He is like Jimmy Butler, but diet, I guess. He's averaging 18 a game on a Kings team that has a lot of different like moving pieces and scorers, I guess. Like, he can't be a 30 a game, a 20-plus game guy when he's sharing the ball with Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis when he's healthy, Russ, Dennis Schroeder. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Sacramento. For such a bad team, there's a lot of people over there that need a ton of shots to be effective. I think DeMar DeRozan could still make an impact on a playoff team. Again, I'm just not exactly sure what the market's going to be for him. And the fact that he's not getting paid over $26 million feels like a relatively good deal for a guy who could be an all-star still. Maybe. The only tough part's going to be how to integrate him onto a team when he doesn't take threes. He takes 2 a game. He shoots about 36.5%. It's not a bad percentage. He just only takes 2 per game. I think if DeMar could knock down open threes, he'd be much more valuable, but he's been the same player for over a decade now. We've kind of, at least I've, given up on his ability to change and become a volume 3-point shooter. I think that ship has sailed. He is the same player every year, and there's nothing wrong with that because consistency is amazing in the NBA. But in terms of trade value, I don't know what DeMar's is going to be. Maybe a first-round pick is all that you would need to get him. I talked earlier about a lot of teams needing backup center play. How about Day'Ron Sharpe from the Brooklyn Nets? Recently, the Brooklyn Nets have decided to play some good basketball. Watchable basketball, at least. And Day'Ron Sharpe's been good, too. He had a really good game, I believe, in their last game. He had 16 points. He is averaging only 7 per game and like 5.5 rebounds. But if you need a backup center, this is a guy who you can rely upon, in my opinion. He's starting to take threes, too. He's almost averaging 1 per game. Although the percentage isn't that great, you still love to see a big man step out and try to increase his range. Sharpe is a rental technically, but he comes with a team option for next season, so it's a very low risk trade in terms of like value, because if he's good for you, you pick up his team option for next season, maybe you extend him. If he's bad, you decline the team option, let him walk in free agency, and you wash your hands completely of it. I don't think the asking price would be that much for him because the Nets have a good group of centers with Claxton. Wolf is a forward type guy. Noah Clowney plays a 4 role. A lot of young guys that need looks in Brooklyn, so it wouldn't be surprising if they were to move away from Day'Ron Sharpe, who's 24, 25 years old already. But again, he's on the last year of his deal, but he has a team option for next season, so it's a very low-risk deal for whatever team decides to pick up the phone and hit up the Brooklyn Nets for him. Shouldn't cost you more than a first-round pick. I don't even think he'll get a first-round pick, especially because his playing time's down from last season. He went from 18 minutes per game to 16 minutes per game. So, again, the Nets probably don't really see him as a feature piece in their future rotation. So, why not pick up the phone and call him and see if you can find a good backup center? The closest comparison I would have to him is somebody kind of like a Nick Richards, I guess. Like a decent energy big man. It's just less of a lob threat. A decent defender. He's 6'10", 265, so he's got good size on him as well. Pause. Day'Ron Sharpe is definitely not a feature piece for the Brooklyn Nets, but he could be for your team if they need a backup center. This is a team like Toronto might do it. Toronto has a bunch of expensive contracts on the roster with Quickly, Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle. A bunch of guys have big deals. Maybe they go after a guy with a lesser deal, a rookie scale deal like Day'Ron Sharpe, that they can play at the backup big man spot and feel a little bit better about it than a Sandro. Shout out to Mamu. Don't want to see him at backup center anymore. If your team needs scoring, Colin Sexton may be available. He only has this year left, so he's an absolute rental, but you could also use it as an expiring contract if you have a bad deal on your roster. I like Colin Sexton a lot, and he's played really well in Charlotte. I just don't know if they're willing to extend him when the team has played as poorly as they have. Sexton isn't a very aggressive rim finisher. He gets downhill basically anytime he wants to shoot the ball. His three-point efficiency has gone up steadily throughout his career. He's a mid-30s three-point shooter. I'd say about 36, 37%, which isn't that bad for a backup guard. And he's efficient. He still shoots 49% from the field. He's shooting 49% from the field this year, and he doesn't take many threes. I really like Young Bull. I think he's a really good backup point guard. He's not really a playmaking type of point guard. He is a come in and score the damn ball backup guard. He can even start on a night-to-night basis if you really need production. So let's say your starter gets hurt, Colin Sexton can be an easy fill-in. Again, he's a rental. That's the only real reason why I could see Charlotte moving him is because they want to get some picks back for a rental opportunity. So if a team needs scoring, maybe the Magic needs some bench scoring or something like that. I don't think you take a lot to pick up because the Charlotte Hornets haven't been great record-wise. Colin Sexton himself hasn't really been at fault for that. I wouldn't say they're a bad team because it's Colin Sexton's fault, but I think he could really help out a contending team that needs some bench scoring. There's a lot of teams in the league that can use some bench scoring, and I think he's getting paid sub $20 million, so there's some value there as well, and especially since he's only a rental, if it doesn't work out, you can just let him walk. A lot of these guys on this list you're going to realize are just rentals because, well, that's the easiest type of trade to do. You don't have to give up too much value for a guy in the last year of his deal. And on top of that, if they're bad, you can just let them go at the end of the season. Happens a lot in the NBA, and it's probably the best thing you can do as a GM is go for a rental trade because if it works out, the best possible case scenario is that you just re-sign him in the offseason. Up next, we have the Bulls. It's a lot of the Bulls roster. Ayo Dosunmu's on the last year of his deal. He needs a new deal after his rookie scale extension. Shouldn't be that much. But Ayo is a very versatile player. He's played the 3 before, like small forward. He's like 6'4" if I had to guess. Ayo secretly has been having a career season. He's averaging 15 points per game. He's shooting well over 40% from 3. He's been ultra efficient. He still has guard-like skills because he was a guard in college. He's a really good defender. He's put on muscle in the offseason to become a better defender. He isn't the biggest guy in the world, but he still plays bigger than his listed height weight. Ayo is currently in the 89th percentile in effective field goal percentage, which again just shows how efficient he's been this season. He's been really good next to Josh Giddey, who has been the primary playmaker for the Bulls. The thing is, I just don't know if the Bulls are going to re-sign him. They're at a really weird spot where they've been playing atrocious basketball for the last like 2-3 weeks, to the point where they aren't even 500. I don't even know if they're a playoff team anymore. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think now's the time to sell, though, because Ayo's been playing as good as he has. And other teams would kill to have Ayo Dosunmu around. A guy who can play a backup guard role or a wing spot at the 3. He knocks down his threes at over 40% from 3. And on top of that, he gets on the break well. He still has guard-like skills. Ayo would be loved by a lot of fan bases. Other rental options on the Bulls. Coby White. It's a rental option. I don't know if they're going to trade him or not. Kobe has been so up and down throughout his playing career. I'm a big fan of his, but ultimately, I don't know. The Bulls are in a really bad spot where they aren't good, but also they're not like really bad either. I genuinely don't know if they're going to sell or be buyers at midseason because their front office is addicted to 500. Kobe White's only making about $12 million, and he's averaging 22 a game. He's been really efficient. Last season, down the stretch, you really started to see him blossom into a good scorer. He won Player of the Month back-to-back months, I believe. So it's definitely really impressive to see what Coby White's done this season. But he is a rental option, only making $12 million. I don't know if the Bulls are going to re-sign all these guys or not, because also Kevin Huerter is there, who's been kind of a fun piece for the Bulls. We know what Kevin Huerter is at this point. The Shenendehowa graduate, that's my guy. Huerter's three-point percentage is down, but he's taking less threes than ever. He's taking more shots from inside the arc than ever as well. Kevin Huerter has been the same player since he's come into the league. He'll come off screens really well. He's a good pick-and-roll pairing because he can throw lobs. Like, he's not a bad passer for an off-guard wing-type role, and he can shoot sometimes. Again, he's a Shenendehowa graduate, so I gotta, tip the cap, salute. Is a free agent. He's a rental deal, not making a ton of money. If you need a bench scorer, shooter, a guy that can run a little bit of pick-and-roll, Kevin Huerter's your guy. And lastly on the Bulls, we have Nikola Vucevic, who's also a rental option. He's been on the trade market for 3 years now. Vuce is still averaging, I believe, 14 a game, and he's shooting about 38.5% from 3. Vuce has also been about the same player since he's come into the league. He's not really a good rim finisher. He's not really a good rim defender, a paint protector type of big man. He's a stretch big that can knock down threes, and he posts up well. He's not bad with like jump hooks and stuff, but he is very limited in terms of what he can do nowadays defensively because he's older, B, he's always been rather immobile, C, he's not very physical down low. Vuce is a good backup big man, I would say, at this point in his career, but he's getting paid starter money. Maybe he's fit for a team like Golden State that needs just a rebounder. Vuce is a decent rebounder, 9 to 11 per game. Whoa. But like a 10 rebound per game guy to the Warriors would change them a little bit, but unfortunately he is pretty expensive. I believe he's making like 27 mil. Vucevic is a good productive center offensively. Defensively leaves a lot to be desired, but again, that's a quartet, I believe that's 4. Of Bulls that could all be moved this midseason because they're all rental deals, and I'm not sure which ones they want to bring back. I'd assume the most likely ones to be moved are Vooch, Dosunmu, and Huerter. I'd say Coby White's the least likely to get moved, but again, it's the Bulls. I genuinely don't know. Up next, we have the Mavericks. It's Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall. Klay Thompson has, this year and next year on his deal, he's only making $17 million. I know everyone loves to make jokes that Klay Thompson's washed, but every once in a while, he can provide a good spark of scoring. He can knock down his mid-range shots here and there, but he is still a good three-point shooter. Like, yes, he is shooting about 36.5% from 3, but right now, he's on a team that has no playmaking. He has 0 guys on the team who can get him open look consistently. Ryan Nembhard. Hold on, let me give some respect to Ryan Nembhard. He's been really good recently. And Klay's been better recently because of that, in my opinion. But he needs more playmakers that can get him open looks. Guys that can hit him when he comes off screens. Maybe another star on the team that can get double-teamed and force rotations, and maybe he'll get more open looks. Klay might feel a little duped right now. He agreed to play with Luka Doncic, and then he did not really get to play with Luka Doncic at all. He kind of got scammed in that regard. Look, I still believe Klay can shoot the ball with a team that needs shooting. But right now he's on a team that doesn't necessarily utilize him the way that I think he could be used, like coming off pin downs and stuff. Overall, yeah, he's not the same player he used to be. Defensively, he's not that good either. But he's not making a ton of money, I believe. Hold on. Yeah, he's making less than $17 million a year. That's not bad for a guy that could be he could be like a 15, 16 a game guy on a team with positive playmaking. Also, Naji Marshall. I mentioned him before. Naji's an interesting player, a real jack of all trades type of guy. He's only making $9 million for the next 2 seasons. He's a guy that can play like a pseudo point guard, like a Royce O'Neal type guard, where he can put up high assist numbers, but he isn't a guard. Sometimes he can shoot, sometimes he can score. Offensively, Naji Marshall isn't a bad player. I actually think his value is probably better than that of Klay Thompson's because it's only $9 million a year. Naji Marshall can really hoop. He's had some big games before in Dallas alone, but in New Orleans he was pretty damn good too. I like Naji Marshall a lot. I just think the Mavericks aren't great. So you might as well try and get some value out of these guys that you're not sure if they're going to re-sign or not. Of course, both of them still have 1 year left on their deal, so if they wait out this entire season and trade them in the offseason, it would make more sense because they'd be expiring. But if you're a team that needs a wing, sheesh. I mean, Naji Marshall is not a bad option for $9 million. When I was talking about the Clippers earlier, I also forgot to mention John Collins, Bogdanovich are also up in the air because I believe they're both on expiring deals or close to it. John Collins has been very bad as a Clipper, so I don't know how much I want to talk about that one. We know who John Collins is, though. He's been playing good defense, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. He's not the on-ball scorer that they really need right now, but he isn't a bad defender. He's getting better offensively this season, I would say. Like, he started off really bad is what I'm getting at. He's been an up-and-down shooter throughout his career. Currently, he's only shooting 30% from 3, so it's definitely not pretty, but the value could still be there for a contending team, I guess. He'd be a more realistic trade option than Bogdanovich, I believe, is on the last year of his deal. He's the most realistic trade option for the Clippers. He has been playing all right. There's some games where Bogey B can take over still as a 6-man. He has some plus playmaking, but he is a decent shooter. Bogdanovich has been another guy that's like really consistent throughout his career. He'll give you about 12 to 15 points if need be. Defensively, he has some left to be desired. But ultimately, he's a good shooter, good offensive piece. I wouldn't mind him on a contender either. It's just kind of getting these guys off the bad Clippers. Brook Lopez is on that too, I believe. Brook Lopez could get moved, even though he has looked fossilized this season and just overall bad. Like a majority of the Clippers roster could be moved by midseason. I just forgot to throw him in there. Brook Lopez is an option as well. Like I said, though, he has looked like a fossil this season. He's moving bad. Lastly, we have Lauri Markkanen, who is another guy that's been in trade talks for years now, I believe so. Lauri is a good shooter, probably the best catch-and-shoot player in the league right now, in my opinion. He's a guy that strives off-ball movement. He can post up a little bit, too, because he is 7 feet tall, knocks down the mid-range, knocks down his threes at a really exceptional clip and volume. He takes a ton of threes, and he makes a ton of threes right now, at least. Last season wasn't his best foot forward. This season, he's been a lot better, and it's mostly because he has a couple of guards that can get him the ball in Collier and Keontae. Lauri Markkanen's been hovered around the Pistons for a little bit, but I don't like that trade, to be honest with you. I'm not exactly sure who a Lauri Markkanen suitor is. I'm not exactly sure right now. Maybe the Raptors in an RJ Barrett swap because they need more shooting. I don't know. It's interesting. Comment down below, Jazz fans. Where's Lauri Markkanen going to get traded to? Comment down below if your team should get any of these players I discussed in this video. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to catch the game. See you guys in the next one.